What's up guys, I am your host Adrian Wood, and on this video we're going to talk about the top 5 draft needs for the Green Bay Packers. Now with the draft about a few weeks away, it looks like the free agency has pretty much settled and we're going to have to go through the draft. Now the Packers have been relatively quiet in regards to the free agency. We have re-signed our own players back in Devondre Campbell, Rasul Douglas. We did go out and sign Jarran Reed on the defensive line, which has helped, but we will have to draft some players. But with all that said, let's look at 5 positions that we need to address in the draft to bolster our team. So at number 5, we have the defensive line. As I said earlier, we did sign Jarran Reed to help with our defensive line. So on our line, we have Kenny Clark, who is a beast, as we already know. Jarran Reed has been a solid signing for us. He's pretty much played every game. And Dean Lowry has played well under Joe Barry's system. Now, despite that, I would still like to see an upgrade to our defensive line to help pair Kenny Clark with someone a lot more ferocious to try and alleviate some of the double teams that Kenny Clark sees on a basis. As you've seen from other teams, especially like the 49ers, who we unfortunately lost to in the playoffs, a front 4 goes a long way. If we can get pressure with just our front 4, then on the back end, they don't even need to cover for more than 4 seconds. And that'll lead to more sacks, potentially more turnovers, and a front 4 goes just a long way. At number 4, we have the offensive line. Now, the offensive line has a good core as long as we're healthy. Now, we're hopefully going to get Bakhtiari back at left tackle and close to full form. On the inside, we have Runyon and Newman, and at center, we have Josh Myers. So, potentially, we'll probably see Jenkins over at right tackle, but we won't get him back till the second half of this season, depending on how long his ACL recovery is. And as we saw with Bach, those are kind of scary with the offensive line. But hopefully he gets to a full recovery in a speedy manner, not compared to Bach, because that would suck. With the releasing of some players, we should address some depth for our offensive line. We've constantly seen injuries among our offensive line and never can seem to keep the front or the first starting 5. So I would like to see some depth in there, because when the inevitable injury that seems always happen to us happens on our offensive line, at least we could have someone come in and hopefully plug and play like we've been doing for the past, 4+ years. It never seems to fail. It sucks. At number 3, I have safety. Now, that may come to a shock to some people, because Adrian Amos has ranked in the top 2 at the free safety position, according to PFF, in tackles, interceptions. And then we have Darnell Savage, who has played good for us, but has struggled in Joe Barry's defense. So we could try to see some more depth behind Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage. Hopefully Darnell Savage does figure out how to play in Joe Barry's system and comes back to form to how he was when he was under Mike Pettine's system. Also, another worry is the fact that Adrian Amos hasn't been signed to an extension yet. For the past 2 years, he's been pretty much not renegotiated, but they've worked his contract to free up salary cap. Now, the problem with that is it doesn't bode well, or it doesn't look well. It seems like in a couple years, when his contract up, we won't be re-signing him, which really sucks. But fortunately, business is business. Another thing I would like to see, if we did draft a safety, if that safety could play out nickel corner, because a lot of times in Joe Barry's system, he likes his safeties to play the nickel corner, and that would help with the flow of our defense and pretty much allow players to play multiple places. Number 2, I have edge rusher. Now, Rashan Gary is Rashan Gary, and he is a force to be reckoned with. As we saw when he missed a couple games, our defense was not the same. The amount of pressure he puts on the opposing offenses is insane. And Preston Smith actually had a very good year again with us last year, hence which led to a contract extension. He had 9 sacks at edge, and he plays a lot better when he's rushing a quarterback than being put in pass coverage or in pass coverage at cornerback. I still don't know what Mike Pettine was thinking there, but those are the old days. But we still need a number 3 in a rotational pass rusher to help spell these guys so they're fresh later into the game. And just having more depth at edge rusher will help make all our guys fresh, not just for the game, but for the season. 17 games is a long, grueling season. And into the playoffs, we want to try to keep our guys fresh. Lastly, at number 1, we have quarterback. Just kidding. Even though we'll probably, for some reason, sign another quarterback in the first round. We have wide receiver. It is the most obvious, glaring need that our team has. Everyone knows it. We have no receivers, well, at least no true number 1. Allen Lazard is a good receiver, but not a number 1 receiver. Randall Cobb is a slot receiver, and Amari Rodgers is, we don't know yet. Hopefully Amari Rodgers takes another step and can become a good slot receiver or somehow play on the outside. But even if he can, we still need to find a number 1 receiver. We need to find a receiver that could stretch the defense, that can get contested balls, be a true number 1 receiver. That might be a lot to ask. Yes, Justin Jefferson has shown in the past, hey, it's possible. Same thing with Jamar Chase. They're out there. But we need to find one for us. I feel like in Matt LaFleur's offense, it does better when all the pieces are going together instead of Rodgers force feeding to Davante. Do not get that twisted saying, I'm glad we lost Davante. Because our offensive receiving crew is not the same without Davante. Davante is still a force. He will be missed. So we need to find a receiver to replace him that potentially could do all of those things, whether it be taking the top off defense, running crisp routes on the inside, getting contested balls instead of role players. It feels like we always go with role players that this player can do this thing good, and then this player can do this thing good. But I would like us to see us get a receiver that can do most, if not all. Of course I'd want all, that'd be the greatest thing, but at least most of those things. So with the draft a couple weeks away, I'm hoping the Packers draft a receiver in the first round, or even trade for a receiver. I am still fine with a Brandon Cooks. I'm not fully sold on DK Metcalf. Yes, it'd be awesome to have him, but then we'd have to sign to a contract extension, and I just don't see how that would really work, especially if he asks for 25 million a year. That's a lot of money. So if we're going through the draft, I would like to see a receiver in the first round and the second round, at least. I don't think we'll go receiver in the first two picks in the first round, but at least one in each round to try to bolster our offensive receiving crew again. And of course, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell me what other positions you feel like I'm neglecting in the top 5, or who you would like us to pick in the draft. And as always, go Pack Go.